Hi, I'm Greg Lui-Kwan, and Mark Fragale and I have a show that runs here at Pauahi Tower until Thanksgiving weekend. It's titled 1942 to 1982, 40 Years of Surfboard Design and Surf Culture. I want to tell a few stories tonight, and I hope you enjoy the stories, and I hope you come visit the exhibit here at Pauahi Tower on Bishop Street. Thank you.
My heart belongs to another, but she's dancing with someone else. Well, if I dance real close to them, she'll notice me and forget about him, and I'll dance, and I get my feelings out. But I dance real crazy 'cause my head's in a whirl. My feet are moving and I'm not even with a girl. Well, when I'm home and lying in bed, the woman and music go around in my head, and I dance and I get my feelings out. Came true. Well, that girl came up and said, I want to dance with you. Well, then thanks to the band, this little gal just took my hand, and I dance and I get my feelings out. Yep, girl. She dance with someone else. Well, if I dance close to her, she'll notice me and forget about him, and I'll dance and I'll get my feelings out. Yeah, I'll dance real crazy and I'll get my feelings out. Yeah, I'll dance real crazy and I'll get my feelings out.
Greg Nolan had a series of boards that were called the Sparky model, and they came in two configurations. One is the concave nose model, which is a hot dog board made for any smaller waves.
Yeah.
And it was on a board of this type that Reno Abelera won the first nose riding contest in Hawaii in the mid-60s.
Wow.
Shaped by Sparky. I don't know if it was a Greg Nolan Sparky model, but it was a Sparky concave nose board, and he won this at
with Reno riding.
Yeah. Now, Mel, I want to show you that the guy most famous for slot bottoms is Greg Nolan.
That's right.
Greg Nolan.
Yeah.
I was telling you a story about how I got a slot bottom in a garage.
That is brilliant.
See right in here?
Okay, so I just got that slot bottom in that bottom part of the...
Yep.
Now this one is kind of cute because the fin is the original fin for the board. All these three Greg Knowles have been fully restored by Randy Rare.
By Randy, yep.
And glassed by Ed Surfboards, his glass guy. Now the fin in the Greg Knowles slot bottom features what's called a chopstick fin. A piece of wood, red. In the fin that's glassed in along with the laminate.
A chopstick fin.
Yeah.
Wow.
I found these two boards and had Rarick restore them. And that one I had to buy from Rarick. But he knows where to find me, and he knows that I take good care of stuff. So. I often get first crack on some on the local stuff.
So you particularly like the Greg Knoll stuff?
No, not particularly.
Not particularly?
I'm a white there are 3 Hawaiians who surfed miniguns in the Puerto Rico contest. Unfortunately, Joey Cabell and David Nueva were eliminated in the preliminaries, and Reno made it to the finals. I think he came in number 5 or 6 or something, and of course Fred Hemmings won that year in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
But the videotape of Reno surfing high in a curl, in a low crouch, in that contest to me is one of the most important. To me, it's almost as important as the Simon Anderson win in 1981 at Pipeline, and after having won the belt. Yeah, exactly. Now, but for years, I clung to this notion that the Hawaii guys weren't getting enough credit, which is why I started collecting these minigun things.
Yeah.
And I'm the only guy I know that has a Hanapipi surf shop. This is January to December 1968. This is an early vintage pocket rocket brewer.
Yeah, the brewers.
And then this is a later vintage Garden Owl surf shop by Dick Brewer and Skip Harmon. So you've got a beautiful logo.
Wow.
But anyways,
because this was the era of really the big change from the longboard to the shortboard.
Right.
The longboard had been so strong up until about 67, 68. Dewey Weber was still, who was mine, who I've got a couple of 67 Dewey Webers.
Are you from Australia?
Yeah. But yeah, that's the year, isn't it? This is the year when things when we're changing from the longboard to the shorter board.
It was in December of '67 that Bob McTavish, Nat Young, and George Grano met with Brewer at the Lahaina surf design shop in Lahaina at the cannery.
Right.
I've got a Lahaina surf design board on that side. But anyways,
lovely.
So when the movie was done, and I brought all these boards to the shoot for the New Zealand guy who did the production, but he died before it was released. The board that Brewer and Bob shaped for the movie, reenacting the meeting they had in December of '67, they gave it to me. So I got it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Now, I want to share something with you.
Yeah.
This is really typical this is essentially a miniaturized version of the Hobie Brewer guns and the Brewer guns from Surfboards Hawaii in the early and mid '60s.
Okay.
Except it's
instead of the bigger guns.
Instead of weighing 40 to 50 pounds, this of course weighs like about 7 or 8 pounds.
Okay.
And instead of being 10 foot, 6 inch to 11 foot, these things are anywhere from 6'6" or 6'7" to about 7'4" and as long as 8 feet.
Okay.
And but one of the things I want to point out, and it can come this way.
Yeah.
Several changes took place between 1968 and 1982. Of course, we have the introduction of the 3-fin thruster design, introduced to the world by Simon Anderson. I think it was December of 1981, if I'm not mistaken, when he won the Pipeline Masters. And just about a month before, won the Bells contest in Australia.
Yes.
Now, this board, I had to find something that would represent 1982 and later. So I selected this board, which happens to be one of the few thrusters that of a somewhat vintage nature that I have. This is designed by Sonny Garcia and Dick Brewer. And this is Sonny's personal sunset board.
Wow.
And it features several different things that I want to mention about the modern big wave gun. First, 3-fin, the thruster design. Second, the midpoint moving from up here in the shoulder of the board closer to the middle.
Yes.
And which allows for greater maneuverability. And it's just an overall better performing board. The other thing is kind of a very sharp nose rocker. That I refer to as a beaked nose. And the other thing is something that I think Maurice Cole and I think Al Merrick incorporated into the designs of that Kelly Slater and Rob Machado wrote. Essentially, would be the single to double barrel concave. And that's caught on for the last 10 years at least or more. And those things are all incorporated into this board.
Wow.
Which is why I refer to this as the 82 to current. And just for purposes of the show, but that's, those are the things that I want to kind of share with people who have an interest in surfboard design.
Absolutely.
Around about 67, 68, guys like Phil Edwards started going to 9 foot. And I think it was the December of 1967 Macau International Contest that was won by George Cabell on a minigun. Similar in proportions to this one.
Wow.
I don't know how long, but in fact similar in actually the artwork.
It's beautiful, the board, these set wide strings in the board.
All of the 600 Phil Edwards Honolulu surfboards were glassed by the shop foreman to Hobie Surfboards, Bosco Burns. And Bosco told me that every surfboard, every blank that came in from Clark, from California, didn't have any stringers. He cut and put in all of these stringers that you see here in these boards.
Wow.
In about the same time frame, about the summer or so of 1968, the Hawaii guys were riding miniguns like that side, but for the mainland market, the big pintail lightweight was designed to ride waves that weren't as powerful and weren't as hollow. And this is where the big pintail lightweight came out. And Big Surfboards had a beautiful ad featured the same colors as shown in this board: yellow, red, black, and white. And I meant to, but I haven't gotten around to preparing a display piece for that. So, and this is another Randy Rarick restoration.
Randy, do that one up.
Now, if the logo looks like an original, that's because it is.
That's because it is. I know.
And Rarick has had a collection of all of this kind of stuff from when he worked at Surfline, I think, and maybe elsewhere. And when he made this board for me, this is a Frankenstein. It all fell apart. He replaced foam here and here. There was a leash plug that he fixed there, and I told him I wanted a tiger stripe, and he made me a tiger stripe, and this is what it is.
Okay. So is that an original 68?
Yes. But it's
been restored.
It's had all the glass taken off it. And it still has the 5-stringer layout that it does. A wedge stringer in the middle, tapering here, and white in the middle. Quarter-inch high-density color foam.
Notice that one.
And quarter-inch redwood. And they somehow managed to clamp that blank together and shape it without it falling apart.
Beautiful. I got a beautiful Dewey Weber. Is it a wave set box?
That's the original.
So the wave set did the wave set have the screw in the front and in the back?
Yes.
The double screw. Because the feather, the 67 feather that I have has that, and the professional has the Wonderbolt.
I have a.
Which one came first, Wonderbolt or wave set? Mark thinks Wonderbolt.
I don't think so. But I don't know.
There you go. There's a point of contention.
I'll leave it to Marcus.
I think Mark said Wonderbolt first.
And Rarick may know because he was a member of the Dewey Weber surf team.
So I was asking Greg earlier, the wave set. Was wave set before Wonderbolt, or was Wonderbolt?
Wonderbolt was before wave set.
It was because I've got the Weber feather and it's got the Wonderbolt in it, and yet the Weber Professional has a Wonderbolt in it. So which one we got? I know it was a 67 feather. Was the Professional 68 or 67?
It was actually earlier than the feather, because you got the feather came after the Professional.
Oh, there's where my information's wrong. I thought the Professional came after the feather.
Well, they both kind of came out around the same time.
Okay, so it's still pretty much the year 67.
But
Wonderbolt was before wave set.
Johnny Gale.
Wow.
And a partner formed Rainbow Surfboards, and the base shaper for Rainbow Surfboards, of course, was Mike Hinson. And these guys were extraordinary craftsmen, and there's an instance of them. And this is Johnny Gale's personal this is dedicated right there. Wow. It's an 8-4 full psychedelic airbrush.
Wow.
I'm not sure. I can't be quoted, but I think it's mostly the airbrush on this
Yes.
piece.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
You know mostly?
No, I don't. But it still looks original.
Well, the one that's in the auctions, they're saying like $10,000 value
Yeah, and
For this floor?
for one like this.
Yeah.
The thing is, it has really good provenance. It belonged to the guy who started Rainbow Surfboard.
Wow.
Johnny Gale.
Yeah.
And that one's, this is the 8.4. Fernando Aguirre paid $8,400 for one about 10 years ago from Randy's auction. That was 8.0. And then the one that Randy found about 3 or 4 months ago, he found 4 of them that belonged to Johnny Gale. And that's one of the longest gun is an 8.8. Is going up on the auction block in about 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks.
Randy, how did these things surf?
They're just,
You know,
they're
down to that.
Too sharp.
they're just straight line.
Straight
The
liners?
whole idea is it lifted up, just got plated, and away you went. You didn't turn.
So it's a big wakeboard.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gun. You know, they're meant to just go down the line.
Okay.
Down the line projectile.
Tell us about
the other
that.
little thing that notice they would put a lead weight in that, so when you turn, the momentum of your turn would carry you and keep you going.
No.
Yeah, that's what that's for.
That's a first.
Yeah.
You learn something every day.
Otherwise it would have been misled.
Put your lead in there.
They would have been misled.
Misled.
All it did was make the boards heavier.
This is nice.
Several proteges, but the earliest ones were Reno and Jerry Lopez. And he trained both those guys how to shape. I have a lightning bolt Lopez gun in that side, and Reno Avalera gun on this side. And one of the really interesting pieces is this 1970s. This is in mid 70s, 1974 to 1976. Balsa gun.
Balsa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chambered.
Wow. Like,
the board would be glued up, scarfed first, so that the piece would be, the nose rocket could be put in,
yeah.
roughly shaped and lightly glued, and then they would break the planks apart, and they would chamber each piece of lumber, and then put it back together again.
Wow.
This board was ridden first at Honolulu, and it was taken by my cousin who was touring with the, he wasn't a professional surfer, but he toured with Dane Kealoha and he surfed this at Jeffreys Bay.
Oh!
In 1975, 1976. Wow. It's one of my most prized possessions. Eight foot Larry Stroud Honolulu gun. Larry and Mike Diffenderfer teamed up and they produced a number of these things. I haven't seen too many around. I feel very fortunate to own one of them. It's just a magnificent piece of equipment.
That Brewer and McTavish thing. Wasn't that the Brewer McTavish thing about actually who was the first one to actually do the short board? Wasn't that there was a bit of rivalry?
There was a lot of rivalry, and the debate still continues to today.
It still continues.
And when the McTavish film opened in Honolulu a few years ago, going vertical at the Honolulu Academy of Arts, Greg Knoll and Randy Rourke moderated a panel discussion with McTavish and Brewer, and they had some sergeants at arms, like I think Jacques Sullivan was there.
Jacques there.
Yeah, and the conclusion that Greg announced is that we all contributed in our own ways to the shortboard revolution.
And I think that's I really think that's a good summation of it.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said about healthy competition, and there certainly was and continues to be, to some extent,
yes,
a healthy competition about the ideas.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, Mel, you're from Australia?
Yes, Byron Bay, Australia.
Oh, lovely place. The main reason I started collecting surfboards in 1978 was to prove that the Hawaiians did something to develop the modern high-performance shortboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Hawaiians have that. There's that special thing with the Hawaiians and the culture, and anyone that's into any sort of history of surfing looks back and we look at the pictures of the Hawaiians. Queen, the
Princess Ka'iolani.
Princess Ka'iolani, that made surfing, you know what I mean, back into the culture.
Yeah.
I mean, Hawaii has that. Whether or not they were involved in any sort of surfboard design is minimalist to me, because I feel that they, you know what I mean?
Brothers who first came up with the 3-fin idea. With the bonzer.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about the fact that Mark Richards won was world champion for 3 straight years. Man is unbeatable.
Yes,
on this design that he borrowed a little bit from Reno Abalera.
Yes.
But he refined it and he surfed it so well.
Yes.
And he was a fine gentleman too.
Yes.
And a great surfer.
Yes.
And
IPA. IPA was another strong name in the whole culture of things as well. Yes.
Yeah, especially in the mid-'70s when he developed the Stinger, and he had Larry Bertelman.
That's right, Larry Bertelman. Yes.
And Mark Lydell surfing for him.
Buttons.
Yeah, Buttons. Montgomery. Buttons, Kalohio, Okalani.
Yes.
And so every exhibit of 70s surfboards must include a Stinger.
Yes.
I have 3.
Agreed.
And
I have 3. I love that.
And there are lots of cute stuff. This is from 1969. A design that was called a disc.
The flip nose.
Yeah, I call it a flip nose, but most people call it a disc.
Okay.
And this is one from one of the early ads.
69.
Yeah.
How interesting. Yeah. And it was interesting how we went to they put a lot of down rail on things. From the old days of the 50-50, back in the really early days, to the down rail.
And the board that Mark Richards rode in free ride in a Honolulu segment was on sale. It was the deck had been all dented up. It was a Reno Abalera wing pin, just like this board. $100. And I passed on it. How about this one? The board that Reno surfed in the Puerto Rico contest here in 1916 in Puerto Rico in the finals. That one was also available at Surfline, but was $140 used, and the board had only a double 4-ounce deck. It was super light.
Super light, yeah.
6 foot 7 inch, 17 inches wide.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. That would be an incredible. If I had those 2 boards now, it would be an incredible pair to show at this exhibit.
Yes. Yeah.
But I didn't have money back then.
Yeah.
45 years ago.
Oh, you've done really well. That is fantastic.
I have a Great Knoll 12-foot gun made for Waimea Bay that has down rails in the tail, in the middle 50-50, and the nose turned up. I got it from the original owner. It's got a number on it, a serial number X15, for the launch of the X15 rocket in November of 1960.
Wow!
And the board was purchased new at the Greg Knoll shop in January of 1961. I got it from the original owner.
Wow!
Now the reason I tell you that about the down rail is that on the mini guns, they have what's called an S rail. There's a sharp turn down edge in the tail.
Yes.
And then they have a bolt nose in the nose.
Yes.
And the nose and that kind of rounded bottom belly
and the rolled bottom.
It was purposefully designed as a displacement hull, so you could get down the face of a big wave and it would separate the chop. Modern surfboards like the Brewer Garcia board I have on the other side that I explained earlier has a full planing hull.
Yes.
All flat, all turned up.
Right the way through.
Now, the reason that people like Randy Rarick and I can distinguish a board that's made in 1968 here and one that's made later, like 1971, 1972 here, is because of the down rail design.
Yeah. Full down rails on it.
Randy, I just placed an arbitrary date of mid-'70s for this board. When was it that Hinson...
70, 71.
Early then. And Hinson was credited with inventing the down rail surfboard.
69.
69?
Yeah, and he called it the breakaway rail, because the water would break away, instead of wrapping around the rail, it would break away. So first, they didn't call it a down rail, he called it the breakaway rail. And then Lopez realized by putting that on there, it allowed you to hold your nose in the tube at pipeline. And he said before that, because the bowl in the nose would drop out all the time. So by putting that down rail, all of a sudden you could hold an edge. And he said that's what changed everything.
And I never heard that story. But what you're saying is that the down rail allowed for you to hold an angle better and allow the board to stay in the way and plane.
Exactly, because it didn't drop out. You know how with a bulb nose, you go and the nose would just, you know, because of the bulb.
Slide?
Yeah, it would just slide out and you'd lose your edge. And so by putting that low rail, it allowed you to do it and stayed in there. And that's what Jerry said, that completely changed how he said, think about it. You don't see Jerry doing anything before 1970 at Pipeline, really. You know, he surfed it, but he didn't do anything great. It was from 70 on that he was getting into the barrel because he had low rails.
And did he learn that from Hinson?
Yeah.
Because I have a Lopez Hansen made in 1968-69, and it still has that S-rail type of thing.
Wouldn't have been as early as 68.
I think 79, 69,
He had a low rail?
No, not a low rail.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hansen Lopez, they sold them at Surfline.
Right.
And it was before 70, 71 when the change took place. Now he was used, that board, that type of design was featured in Surfer magazine, Lopez surfing, hunting, and doing side slips and stuff like that, but not doing anything too bright with that style of board.
Right.
Wait, now Randy, here's something that I want to ask you about. Remember we had the gun show about 10, 15 years ago on Union Mall? And thanks for putting that together. Joey Cabell told me that he tried to get Brewer to shape a down rail board, but Brewer refused to do it, so he ended up shaping Warner's tool himself. Because he was having the same problem you're describing, surfing giant Hanalei, right. where I think the boards he was riding were big pipeliners. And he tried to put the nose in, and they wouldn't hold an edge. They would slide out, they would straighten out.
Well, that's what he derived the gray ghost and the white ghost, the two boards that were really thick. They were kind of like this. They were really thick, big dome deck with real down rails. And that's what he evolved from that. And that's the board that he won the Duke meet on.
Yeah. Do you know what year that was that he rode?
69.
That was 69. Now, what you're telling me though suggests that Hinson and Cabell, both in 69, came up with the same idea.
I think Cabell got it from Hinson.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Because they were trying to figure out how to make them go faster and hold in, and so that's what. Yeah. And Hinson's pretty much credited for coming up with this low rail.
I would go with what you say, Randy, because you've talked to everybody. I haven't.
That's right.
Well, thank you for straightening that whole thing out.
And much more you did.
Hope you enjoy the stories, and I hope you come visit the exhibit here at Pauahi Tower on Bishop Street. Thank you.